Hey, hallo Leute, hier ist Herr Penner. So if you don't know me, which you should by this point, I am your German professor, and I'm recording this video because I know for a fact that there are some students in our course who feel stuck, who feel lost because it's too late to drop the course, but the course has progressed too much for these students to catch up. So this is why I wanted to create this video, and actually maybe more, a couple more of them to help you guys because you paid for this course. I don't want to lose you. I do want you to learn German, and I do want you to benefit from this course. So this is what we are going to do now. I'm going to tell you guys how I think you should catch up. And I totally think that you can. You're not hopelessly lost. You can catch up. So this video series is entitled Notruf Deutsch. So Notruf, note is the same as the English word need, and Ruf means call. So Notruf is when you call if you have an emergency. So Notruf Deutsch, emergency call German. So I'm going to help you guys. So what to do if you think you're hopelessly stuck after term one. You are not hopelessly stuck. I will help you to get unstuck. So this is where I think you should start, and we're going to go in steps. So the first step is covering the basis, and I'm going to fill out these charts with you. There are no charts yet, but there will be. So catching up at the midpoint. Midpoint means that we're currently between the two semesters, and I don't want to lose you guys. So step one, the most important thing you can do, that's number one. You're going to have to learn the three verbs. Sein, which means to be. You're going to have to learn that. Haben, which, as you probably guessed, means to have. And werden means to become. To become. So you're going to have to learn the forms of these verbs. Ich bin, I am, right? Du bist. You, the informal you, are. Er, sie, es, he, she, it, ist. He, she, it, is. And then we have the plural forms wir, sind, ihr, you guys, the informal, seid, and sie/sie, sind. So the first of them means, the first sie means the formal sie, and the second is they. So sie sind, you are, or they are. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. You or they are. So ihr seid, y'all are, und wir sind, we are. So, ich bin Kanadier, ich bin Deutscher, ich bin froh, happy, ich bin nicht froh, ich bin jung, ich bin nicht so jung, and so on. Du bist du Kanadier oder bist du Deutscher? Bist du froh? Are you happy? And so on. So it's super important to know these forms. So that is where you start. And we need these verbs because they are the base for all the other constructions. Let me just show you, running a little bit ahead of myself. So ich bin, right? I am. You just insert a, for example, an adjective. Ich bin jung, ich bin alt, ich bin hungrig, like that, right? You can insert an adjective, or you can say ich bin Kanadier, ich bin Chinesin, Chinese, ich bin Deutscher, and so on. Right? I thought I had a point, but now I totally forgot what that was. Oh yeah, how else do you use them? So you use ich bin. So for example, to say that you have done something, ich bin gekommen. I have come, right? Ich bin, instead of gekommen, we're going to say something like gerannt. I have run. Ich bin geflogen. I have flown. So as you notice, geflogen, we used geflogen, gerannt, gekommen. All of them are verbs of motion. So you use it to form perfekt. Ich bin geflogen, ich bin gerannt, ich bin gekommen. So when we talk about motion in German, to say I have come, I have driven, I have run, you say I am run, only with the verbs of motion. So only with the verbs of motion. So I have, and so on. So that is why this verb is super important. Ich bin, you're talking about yourself. Du bist, you're talking to one person. Er, sie, es, he, she, it is. Wir sind, ihr seid, sie sind. So remember that the word ich is usually not capitalized in German unless it's the first word of a sentence. So that is the first verb, sein, to be. The second verb, to have, is equally important. Ich habe, I have. Ich habe Hunger. Du hast, no, not zu, there's not a word. Das ist kein Wort. Du hast, you have. Er, sie, es hat. He, she, is. He, she, it has. Er hat Hunger. Sie hat Durst. So he has hunger or is hungry. So zum Beispiel, for example, er hat Hunger. Sie hat Durst. It has, she has, he has. Wir haben, ihr habt und sie/sie, sie haben. Right? So the first Z again is the polite you talking to one or many people, and the second Z means they. So zum Beispiel, for example, ich habe Hunger. Haben Sie Hunger? Have you hunger? Do you have hunger? Are you hungry? Right? Haben Sie Durst? And so on. You would say, ja, wir haben Durst. So why is haben important? Haben is important because you can not only talk about things that you have, that you own. So ich habe einen Hund. I have a dog. Ich habe ein Auto. Ich habe eine Katze. Right? You own those things. You have them, but you can also use ich habe to form perfect, like in German, like in English, I have done something, right? So when we were talking about the verb, the first of them, sein, to be, we were using verbs of motion. Ich bin gekommen, ich bin gerannt, geschwommen, gefahren, and so on. So, ich bin gekommen means I have come. Ich bin gerannt, I have run. Ich bin geschwommen, I have swum. Right? We don't say I have swum, but in German, you use that as the preferred spoken spoken past tense. Ich bin gekommen, ich bin gerannt, ich bin geschwommen, ich bin gefahren, I have driven, and so on. So these are all verbs of motion. Now, habe is used for owning things. Ich habe einen Hund, ich habe ein Auto, ich habe eine Katze, er hat einen Tesla, and so on. And you can also use it to form the perfect tense. So, ich habe geschlafen. I slept. But in German, to say I slept, normally you say I have slept. Ich habe geschlafen. So notice that geschlafen is not a motion. Right? Gekommen, gerannt, geschwommen, gefahren is motion. Ich habe geschlafen. Ich habe, if you cooked, you say ich habe gekocht. Gekocht, ich habe gelesen, I have read, and so on. So these verbs are used for a couple other constructions that I don't want to introduce yet, and that is why they are super important. The next one, werden, means to become, and the forms are ich werde, du wirst, er, sie, es wird, wir werden, ihr werdet und sie werden. Sie werden. So again, you see that the computer is capitalizing them for me. Normally these forms are not capitalized except for sie right? Which means the polite you that you use to people who you don't really know, or people who are much older than you, or who have a lot more power. For example, a police officer, or I don't know, a politician, or maybe a teacher at a school. So werden, to become. I become. Ich werde traurig. I become sad. Ich werde traurig. Or are you becoming? Do you become, I don't know, sick? Ich werde krank. Wirst du krank? Are you becoming sick? So especially fitting now during the pandemic, right? Well, hopefully nobody's gonna get sick here. But so ich werde krank. I am becoming sick. Wirst du krank? Another important point, so are you becoming sick is what this means. Or if you talk about somebody, you can say somebody else, you can say sie werde krank. He, she becomes sick. Now, just as an example, what else this verb werden is used for, it is used for forming passive constructions. So see these things, gekommen, gerannt, geschlafen, gekocht, and so on. So we use the same form, but together with werden, it means passive. So ich werde, ich werde, you know what, it's easier to talk about something else. So das Auto wird, wird gestartet. Gestartet. The car is being started. So in German, to say the car is being started, you say the car becomes started. Or das Haus wird gebaut. The house becomes built. Or in German, we have something that is called impersonal passive. So, es wird nicht getanzt. Getanzt. It is not. It becomes not danced. It means people don't dance here. Or so something like es wird hier nicht geraucht. It becomes here not smoked. So you don't smoke here. One doesn't smoke here. Es wird hier nicht geraucht. So this is called passive, and that is why we need to really know the forms of these three verbs. So sein, haben, werden is going to be your first point of catching up. It's the base of the language. If you don't really learn this super well, you're not going to be able to progress. So take 15 minutes and just repeat this like a mantra. Ich bin, du bist, er ist, wir sind, ihr seid, sie sind. Ich habe, du hast, er hat, wir haben, ihr habt, sie haben, and so on. The next point here is what can you learn with these three core verbs? How can you actually practice? Well, you can put together sentences. You can talk about nationalities, Nationalitäten, so that you can say things such as ich bin Kanadier, or if you're German, you would say ich bin Deutscher, or if you're Chinese, you would say ich bin Chinese, or if you are, I don't know, Russian, you would say ich bin Russe. Those are all masculine forms, and this is what I want you to know about nationalities and professions. They have masculine and feminine forms. So these forms that you see right here now are masculine forms. And if you are a girl, then you would say ich bin Kanadierin, ich bin Deutsche, ich bin Chinesin, ich bin Russin, and so on. So look up the nationality that you belong to or that your friends belong to, the ones that are important for you. Form a couple of questions. Talk about yourself. So, ich bin Kanadier, ich bin Deutscher, ich bin Deutsche. And then you can ask, are you German? Are you Canadian? So, bist du Kanadier? Right? Or ist er or ist sie Deutsche, and so on. Professions. The same thing. Look up the professions that are important for you, whoever you want to be. So let's say you want to be a professor. Ich bin Professor, or ich will Professor werden. Or you can just talk about somebody. Er, sie ist Professor. Professor, or the female form, Professorin, and so on. The example that I just said, so I want to become, it works like this. Ich will, I want, Professor werden. I want to become. So to become Things like that are called infinitives, and they always go to the end of German sentences. Ich will Professor werden, and so on. I will explain that a little bit later. So, Professor, Professoren, learn a couple of professions. That's what I did with you in the very beginning. We said Wissenschaftler is a male scientist, Wissenschaftlerin, female scientist, and so on. So look up those those word lists that I posted for you on right now. They're on Top Hat, but in the future they could just migrate to a PDF of some sort. So ich will, whatever your profession, make sure that you choose the form male or female, an appropriate form werden, or ich bin Student, ich bin Studentin, and so on. Basic adjectives. Learn the basic adjectives such as jung, alt, groß. So jung, ich bin alt, ich bin groß, I am big. In German, groß also means tall. Klein is small, or it could be short. So ich bin nicht sehr groß und nicht sehr jung, aber nicht alt. Ich bin nicht alt. Noch nicht. Not yet. So jung, alt, groß, klein. We also learned stark, schwach, strong, and weak. We learned schnell, langsam, und so weiter, and so on. So basic adjectives, just go over the first couple of classes that we did and learn them. They are important. Ich bin hungrig, durstig, and so on. Countries. We talked about countries where people are, wo Leute sind. So, ich bin in Kanada. Wo bist du? Oh, ich bin in, I don't know, China or Deutschland or I don't know, England, and so on. So learn the countries that are important for you, the countries where you have been, the country where you are, the country that's for some reason important to you. So I can't provide a complete list of all countries, but I want your German to be relevant. So you need to talk about things that matter to you. Ich bin in Canada. Ich bin in China. Remember the preposition in, that in German means inside or often to go to. But we're going to talk more about prepositions next time. Okay, so those were the three core verbs. When I say the pronouns, what do I mean here? They are the words ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie. In our university course, because we're being formal, I'm using sie talking to you in plural, and you normally use sie talking to me. And sometimes our characters in the stories use du to each other. We don't really have a chance, or don't have many chances to use ihr, which means you all, which is the German informal plural. So normally that's the form that gets practiced the least in university courses, but it's frequent, so you need to know what it is. So the pronoun ihr. Okay, articles. German has three articles: der, die, das. Der was? Der Hund. Der Hund, the dog. Die Katze, a cat. Das, something neuter. Das Handy. Die is in the middle here. Die, that is the feminine form. Die Uhr, so all things in German are masculine, feminine, or neuter. And then the plural form is the same as the feminine form. So die Tiere, the animals. Die Tiere. So let me just type that. So der Hund, the dog, is masculine. Die Katze, the cat, is feminine. Das Brot, or still let's stick to the animals. Das Krokodil, the crocodile, plural. Die Tiere, the animals. So those are your articles. Now, instead of der, we can say ein. So der Hund means the dog. But what if you're just talking about a dog? A dog. Instead of der, you would say ein Hund, a dog. Instead of die Katze, you would say eine Katze. a cat. Instead of das Krokodil, you're going to say ein Krokodil, a crocodile. And the plural D doesn't have the ein form, right? It should have been eine because of the plural a. See how this is the plural normal, the plural ending on articles and so on. But ein means one by default. It means one. So it doesn't make sense because ein means one, but we want to use it in the plural, so it doesn't work. So it's just going to be Tiere. However, the negative form kein does have a plural form, keine. So there is no eine in plural, but keine exists. So these are no animals, doesn't keine Tiere, doesn't meine Freunde. These are not animals, these are my friends. So ein Hund, a dog, turns into kein Hund. Eine Katze, to say that it's not a cat, keine Katze, so not a cat. Not a dog, not a cat. Ein Krokodil turns into kein Krokodil, not a crocodile. And then not animals would be keine Tiere, not animals. In the future videos, we're going to learn the second and the third lines of these articles. For now, I just want you to know ein, that der corresponds to ein, and it also corresponds to kein. They just have slightly different meanings. So der is the, der Hund, the dog. Das ist der Hund. That's the dog that I told you about. Das ist ein Hund. It's just a dog. Das ist kein Hund. Das ist ein Krokodil. It's not a dog. It's a crocodile. So ein, kein. Also, it's incorrect to say nicht ein. So see how we said ein Hund? Well, you cannot say nicht ein. That doesn't work. So nicht ein Hund, it doesn't work because instead of nicht ein Hund, we have the form kein Hund. That's what you need to practice. This is kein Hund. So don't say nicht ein. So that is what also you need to know. That's one of the basic things. The 6 special verbs. Okay, the special verbs: wollen, können, müssen, mögen, dürfen, and so on. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller because we are going to, let me just remove the bullets. So the forms are, so wollen means to want. And it's super important to learn these verbs because first of all, they work a little bit differently than the other verbs in German, than the so-called normal verbs. But also, these verbs are very frequent. So ich will, I want. And then you say whatever you want. Ich will ein Auto. I want a car. But instead of ich will ein Auto, instead of ein Auto, you can say what you want to do. Ich will, I don't know, schlafen. Ich will essen. You can expand this endlessly. So if you want, I don't know, to drink coffee, you can expand it. So you can say ich will trinken, but also you can say ich will Kaffee trinken. Or if you want to eat, I don't know, Pizza, ich will Pizza essen. Or I want to buy a car, ich will ein Auto kaufen. Or if you want to find your bag, ich will eine Tasche finden. So instead of eine here, you can say eine, I want to find a bag. But if you're looking for your bag, ich will meine Tasche finden. So ich will meine Tasche finden. Again, remember how I said in the beginning of this video that infinitives always go to the end. Think of an infinitive as the second verb in a sentence. So the first verb, ich will, and then the second is finden. Whatever it is, it will go to the end. So ich habe meine Tasche gefunden. I found my bag. Ich habe meine Tasche gefunden. I have my bag found. The second verb always goes to the end. Or just to exemplify a passive construction, meine Tasche wird, meine Tasche, we're going to use the past tense, became found, wurde gefunden, was found. Okay, so back to these verbs. So ich will, du willst, sie, es will, and then the plural is wir wollen, ihr wollt, sie/sie wollen. Right? So look up the song by Rammstein, Ich will. and they use ich will and du willst, wir wollen, they use it there a lot. So I do think songs actually help learn a language, especially remember things. So yeah, and that's something else you can do. Find a German band that you like. So I'm into heavy music, so there is a lot of German rock, a lot of German metal, and there's no shortage of it. So I find something that I like, and then you'll find something that you like, and you'll pick up these forms that you're learning. Again, I'm teaching you guys the most frequent verbs in the language. The second verb, können. Können means to can. In English, can doesn't have the to, right? So to can. Um, mhm. So you'll find some similarities with the previous verb. So ich kann, du kannst, sie, es kann. I can, you can, the informal you, he, she, it can. And then the plural forms are wir können, ihr könnt, and sie können. Sie können. Here we go. So let's just exemplify. I've already exemplified wollen, right? So we wrote things such as ich will essen. I want to eat. Or ich will Kaffee trinken. You would say ich will einen Kaffee trinken. I want to drink a coffee. Ich will einen Kaffee trinken. Ich will meine Tasche finden. Or ich will ins Kino gehen. I want to go to the movies. So right now during the pandemic, that sounds like a dream. But, well, it'll end sooner or later. Können. Ich kann. I can. Normally, when you say you can, ich kann, du kannst, er kann, you say an action. What is it that you can do? Ich kann, ich weiß nicht, Auto fahren. I can drive a car. Remember, because it's the second verb in the sentence, it goes to the end. Ich kann Auto fahren. Ich kann, I don't know, gut Gitarre spielen. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch. Or this verb können is also used for knowing languages. Ich kann kein Französisch. Ich kann kein Französisch. I can, or I know, no French. Ich kann kein Französisch. If you know French, you would say ich kann Französisch. If you know Chinese, you would say ich kann Chinesisch. Or if you don't know Chinese like me, ich kann kein Chinesisch, and so on. So that's können. So you either put an action to the end, ich kann laut singen, or ich kann nicht gut singen, or ich kann sehr gut singen. I can very well sing. So again, sing goes to the end because it's an infinitive. And I'm going to keep saying this because I do want you to remember this, to drive this point home. This is something that is different than in English. So in English, you would say, I can sing very well. But in German, it won't work because you have to put the second verb to the end. So in German, it will actually be, so literally, you're saying, I can very well sing. You must put sing to the end because it's the second verb in the sentence. Okay, müssen, the third verb. Müssen, the third verb, it means to must. Again, in English, we don't use the to, but here I'm just including it because that is what it is. This en at the end is to. It's an infinitive marker. So müssen, to must. Ich muss, I must. Du musst, sie, es muss. I must, you must, he, she, it must. Wir, now it changes, the verb will change a little bit. Wir müssen, oops, ihr müsst, and then sie müssen. They must, you guys must. So this verb can be used in the same way as the other ones that we just mentioned. So ich muss, Deutsch lernen. I must learn German. Ich muss meine Tasche finden. And the reason why I'm using this sentence about meine Tasche is because I recently posted a link for you guys to watch a movie filmed by the Deutsche Welle, which is a major news portal, and they have actually some German classes or some online courses for beginners as well. So it's not a bad movie, and it's for beginners. So I strongly recommend that you watch it. And in the movie, a guy named Nico lost his Tasche, his bag, and he wants to find his bag. So ich muss meine Tasche finden. I must find my bag. You can say ich muss lernen. I must learn. No matter what happens, this lernen will be at the end because it's the second verb. So ich muss heute Abend lernen. I must today in the evening study. So in English you would say I must study tonight. Also remember that in German, lernen also means to study. At the same time, studieren means to major in something. So ich studiere Deutsch, I'm majoring in German. That's your ultimate goal. But if you have to sit down and learn something and study for a test, then you would say ich muss lernen. Mögen, to like. To like. Ich mag. And that is what you're going to see with all these verbs, that they change, especially for first and third person singular. So ich mag, sie, es mag. Ich will, will. See, these forms, this one is identical with this one for all of them. Ich kann, sie, es kann. Ich muss, sie, es muss. Ich mag, sie, es mag. And so on. Wir mögen, wir mögen, ihr mögt, und sie mögen. So again, all of these verbs are used in exactly the same way. You can substitute, you can add ich mag, then you can just insert whatever it is that you like. Ich mag Pizza, ich mag iPhone, ich mag Deutsch. If you don't like it, then you would say ich mag keine Pizza, ich mag kein Deutsch, ich mag okay, and so actually you would say ich mag Deutsch nicht. But that's beyond the point. So I'm going to make another video about nicht and kein. So ich mag Kaffee, right? Ich mag Kaffee. Or ich mag schlafen. You can add an action there. Or ich mag Gitarre spielen. So let me ask you a question. Why is spielen at the end? Why do you say I like guitar to play? Hope you know the answer, and the answer is because it's an infinitive. It's the second verb in our sentence. It always goes to the end. Ich mag Gitarre spielen. It always goes to the end no matter what you say. Ich mag mit meinen Freunde, Freunden Gitarre spielen. I like play friends with my guitar. No, play guitar with my friends, not play friends with my guitar. Ich mag mit meinen Freunden Gitarre spielen. And so on. So ich mag. Right? I like. Was magst du? Was magst du? What do you like? And so on. Dürfen means to may, to be allowed to. So, ich darf, I may. No, that was wrong. Ich mag. No, the windows just don't want to. Okay, here we go. Ich mag. Nee, dürfen. May. Ich darf. I may. Ich darf schlafen. Ich darf Schokolade essen. Ich darf Auto fahren. I may drive a car. May means I am, meaning I am allowed to. Ich darf. Du darfst. Darfst du Auto fahren? Are you allowed to drive? Sie, es darf. He, she, it may. So you can insert an action to the end. In this case, ich darf. Normally you would use it with an action, right? Wir dürfen. Ihr dürft. Ihr dürft. Und sie dürfen. May. Ich darf Auto fahren, ich darf nicht schlafen gehen oder ich darf spät schlafen gehen. Ich darf spät, the wrong one, spät ins Bett gehen. I am allowed, late to bed, to go. To go is at the end. Why? Because it's an infinitive or the second verb in the sentence. So, dürfen, may, mögen, and the last one, sollen. I put it right under müssen because it has a related meaning. It also means must, like I have to. It indicates obligation. Müssen shows that you might not want to do something, but you realize that it's important. You better do it. It comes from within yourself. So, ich muss heute Abend lernen. Ich muss heute Abend lernen. I must study tonight. Again, lernen is at the end. I'm going to say it until you really know that. Ich muss heute Abend lernen. I must study tonight. If you say ich soll heute Abend lernen, it means that there's a third person who tells you that you must study tonight. So for example, you don't want to study, but your parents are telling you that you may not go anywhere. You must. Du sollst. Sie, I'm talking to you. I would say, Sie sollen lernen. Or your mom or dad would say to you, du sollst heute Abend lernen. You must study tonight. So, ich soll, du sollst, er, sie, es soll, wir sollen, ihr sollt und sie sollen. A couple more things about these verbs. What you will notice is that all of them have certain patterns. So the plural endings are going to be, where is the color? Here we go. So the plural endings for wir and for sie are always en. See, wir können, sie können. Wir müssen, sie müssen, right here. Wir sollen, sie sollen, wir dürfen, sie dürfen, wir mögen, sie mögen. You will also find that all forms that go with ihr always have the t. That is true for all the normal verbs as well. So we'll learn about the normal verbs in one of the next videos. We will also notice that all the do forms also have the st at the end. That's true for all the verbs, normal verbs, and so on. So du willst, du kannst, du musst, du sollst, du darfst, du magst. Oh, there's a typo. Magst. The reason why here willst, kannst, musst, here we go, sollst, darfst, or all right. Sorry, I had something else in mind. And you will also find that there is no ending after ich and after er, sie, es will. Unlike normal verbs, these verbs never have an ending here. We're going to talk about it later. So those are the similarities, and that is why we put these verbs together. So after them, you can insert an action, which will go to the end, or for some of them, you can just insert a noun. So ich mag Tesla or iPhone or something like that. Okay, now for you to start catching up, the first thing that I think you should do is you can learn these things. They're just phrases that you can memorize. It's quite easy to memorize those. And you can also surprise me in class. You can talk to me. You can use these things with me. So I'm just going to go over them. You can repeat with me. The first one, Entschuldigung. Entschuldigung. When you speak very quickly, it turns into something like Entschuldigung. 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 It's good for attracting someone's attention, for drawing someone's attention. So, Entschuldigung. When I say it, then you repeat after me. Entschuldigung. Sehr gut. If you don't understand something that I said, you can ask me, wie bitte? So little kids say was, which means what, but of course it's not polite. So wie bitte is a preferred variant. Wie bitte? Wie bitte? You have a question. Ich habe eine Frage. I have a question. So please use them in class. Ich verstehe nicht. I understand not. And the reason why nicht here goes to the end is because in German we have this funny rule about V2. Verb second. The verb always has to be second. Ich is the first word in the sentence, so verstehe is the second, must be the second word. So I don't understand doesn't work in German. Ich nicht verstehe doesn't work because don't is in the second position in English, but in German it can't be. Ich verstehe nicht. So can you say it with me? Ich verstehe nicht. Ich verstehe nicht. Ich habe keine Ahnung. I have no idea, or the short form, keine Ahnung. Ich habe keine Ahnung. I have no idea. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Keine Ahnung. Ich habe keine Ahnung. If you want to know what something means in German, you can say, was bedeutet Geschwindigkeitsbegrenzung? That long word means speed limit. Was bedeutet Geschwindigkeitsbegrenzung? Was bedeutet sollen? Was bedeutet sein? Was bedeutet müssen? If you want to know how to say something in German, wie sagt man speed limit auf Deutsch? Wie sagt man speed limit auf Deutsch? This word man means one. How does one say? It's similar to the word man, but it's not the same. The word for man as a male person is der Mann or ein Mann. Der Mann, ein Mann. Notice capital M and double N, whereas the word one, the informal one, the impersonal one, man, one. Man sagt, one says. So, wie sagt man das auf Deutsch? How do you say that in German? What is that in German? Wie sagt man das auf Deutsch? Say it with me. Wie sagt man das auf Deutsch? How do you say that in German? The next one, wie schreibt man das? How do you write that? Wie schreibt man das? Again, here you're seeing an example of the V2 rule, verb second. Wie schreibt man das? The next one, if you need help, ich brauche Hilfe. Ich brauche Hilfe. For some reason, I have English and German here reversed. So, ich brauche Hilfe. I need help. Can you say it with me? Ich brauche Hilfe. Ich brauche Hilfe. I need help. So, brauchen is a very important verb. Learn it. If you want to know if something that you wrote or said is correct, you would say, ist das richtig? Ist das richtig? Is that correct? Ist das richtig? Say it with me. Ist das richtig? There's a typo. Ist das richtig? Oh, I was looking at the English one. Okay. So, ist das richtig? Is that correct? Ist das richtig? So please note that if you, let's say, watch German television, you will notice that a lot of native speakers of German would say, ist das richtig? Ist das richtig? In standard German, what we're learning in our class, in our course, this is pronounced as ich, the same as the word for I. Ist das richtig? If you want to know if there's homework, was sind die Hausaufgaben? What are what are the homeworks? So the singular word for homework is Hausaufgabe, which means one task, but in plural, was sind die Hausaufgaben? What's for homework? If you don't know the difference between something, you can always ask, was ist? And we're working on this phrase right here. Was ist der Unterschied zwischen sollen und müssen? Was ist der Unterschied zwischen sollen und müssen? Remember, this is the letter Z, and it's pronounced as the Z in pizza, or the last letters, two letters in bats, TS. Was ist der Unterschied zwischen sollen und müssen? If you want me to repeat something, could you repeat that, please? Können Sie das wiederholen? Können Sie das wiederholen? Can you repeat that? You can add the word bitte, which means please. Können Sie das bitte wiederholen? Bitte, können Sie das wiederholen? Können Sie das wiederholen? Bitte. So, can you say it with me? Können Sie das wiederholen? Können Sie das wiederholen? Can you repeat that? Could you speak slower? Können Sie bitte langsamer sprechen? Können Sie bitte langsamer sprechen? Can you please slowlier or louder speak? Why is sprechen at the end? By now, you should know that by heart. It's the second verb. Können is this first verb. Sprechen is the second verb. It always goes to the end. It happens to be an infinitive. So, können Sie bitte langsamer sprechen? Can you please speak slower? Können Sie bitte lauter sprechen? Can you please speak not faster? You'll never say that. Louder, lauter. All right. And the first step in catching up, I want you to learn Kommunikation, the first basic greetings, that's what you should know. Hallo is the informal one. Guten Tag, good day is the informal hello. In the morning you say Guten Morgen. At night you say Guten Abend. You do not say Gute Nacht because that means sleep tight. Gute Nacht. That's not how you wish. It's not how you wish somebody to have a good night. We're going to go over that in one of the next videos. So, guten Morgen, guten Abend, guten Tag. Gute Nacht means sleep well. It's a leave taking. So, another leave takings that I want you to know are, well, other leave takings are tschüss. Can you say it with me? Tschüss, tschüss, tschüss. Or auf Wiedersehen. This should be capitalized. Auf Wiedersehen. It means until we see each other again. Auf wieder. So, auf kind of until or to. Wieder means again, and sehen means seeing. So until again, seeing. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. And you probably know that I usually, when I address my classes in German, I usually use this form. So I say something like, Hallo Leute, hello people, hello folks, hallo Leute. Or you can say, Das ist alles, Leute. That's it, folks. That's all, people. And so on. So I hope you find this video helpful. I do think that everybody who is in this course should be able to get a lot more German out of it. I don't want you to switch to a survival mode and just, say as little as you possibly can and just get a passing grade. I want you to enjoy yourselves, and I want you to get the bang for your buck. You paid for this course. Please catch up, follow the steps in this video, and we'll see, depending on your feedback, I might film more of these. So, tschüss, und yeah, as you can see, it's pretty late, so it's 9 o'clock here, so gute Nacht. Gute Nacht.